the summer of 1845, a young man walked into the woods of Massachusetts, carrying nothing more than an axe, a notebook, and a stubborn conviction. His name was Henry David Thoreau. While the rest of society rushed to build railroads, factories, and fortunes, Thoreau did something strange, almost ridiculous. He built a small wooden cabin beside Walden Pond, on land owned by his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson, and chose to live alone for over 2 years. Why? Because Thoreau wanted to test an idea. What if the true measure of success was not what you gained, but what you gave up? To his neighbors, he looked like a dropout, a failure, a man who refused to play the game of wealth, status, and progress. In other words, a loser. But Thoreau had discovered something radical, that freedom was not found in climbing higher, but in stepping off the ladder entirely. And today, in a world addicted to winning, Thoreau's philosophy challenges us with a dangerous question. What if being a loser is the only path to being truly free? Thoreau once wrote, "A man is rich in proportion to the number of things he can afford to let alone." Think about that. We measure success by addition. More money, more followers, more possessions. Thoreau measured success by subtraction. Less dependency, less distraction, less noise. To lose, in his philosophy, wasn't failure. It was freedom. When he left town for the woods, he lost society's approval. He lost comfort. He lost convenience. He lost the illusion of being important. But what did he gain? Silence, clarity, and the terrifying honesty of being alone with himself. Thoreau's life was a radical reminder that sometimes we must lose the world to find our soul. In Thoreau's time, people were enslaved by factories and debts. In our time, we're enslaved by screens, algorithms, and the race to be somebody. But the chains are the same. We work jobs we dislike, to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't care about. We trade our freedom for a paycheck, our time for status, our inner peace for the illusion of progress. Thoreau saw this trap clearly. He called it quiet desperation, the condition of most lives. He warned, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation." If you feel the need to constantly prove yourself, at school, at work, even online, you are caught in the very net Thoreau tried to escape. The tragedy? You might win at the game of success and still lose your life. So what does it mean to be a loser in Thoreau's sense? It means refusing to play by the rules that enslave you. It means being willing to look like a failure in a world that worships empty victories. It means walking away from the race, not because you can't win, but because you see the prize for what it truly is: worthless. Being a loser is not passivity. It is not laziness. It is a deliberate rebellion. When Thoreau refused to pay his taxes because the government supported slavery and unjust wars, he was thrown in jail. To others, he looked powerless. But that night in a cell inspired his famous essay, Civil Disobedience, which later influenced Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. The loser, Thoreau teaches us, is often the one who carries the seeds of revolution. At Walden Pond, Thoreau lived on the bare minimum. He grew beans, fetched water, built his own furniture, and wrote in solitude. His experiment wasn't about escape. It was about confrontation. He asked, "What do I really need to live? What is essential?" The answer shocked him and should shock us. Almost nothing. We don't need endless consumption. We don't need the approval of strangers. We don't even need the frantic chase for purpose. We need space. We need stillness. We need the courage to lose what is not ours to keep. Here's the paradox. By becoming a loser, Thoreau won something society could never give him: sovereignty over his own life.
Freedom isn't having everything, it's needing almost nothing.
To the world, he looked like a dropout, but to himself, he was freer than kings and presidents because no man owned him and no machine dictated his hours. Thoreau redefined freedom not as the ability to chase every desire, but as the strength to walk away from desire altogether. Now, you don't need to move into the woods or grow beans to live by Thoreau's philosophy. You can start small. 1. Lose the need to check your phone every 5 minutes. 2. Lose the obsession with proving your worth through work. 3. Lose the fear of disappointing others when you choose your own path. Each small loss is a quiet revolution. Each refusal is a declaration of freedom. Because every time you let go, you gain space for what matters: reflection, creation, inner peace. Thoreau left the woods after 2 years, but he carried Walden with him for the rest of his life. His message was simple, dangerous, and eternal. Do not be trapped by the world's idea of winning. Dare to lose. Dare to live free. Maybe society will call you a failure. Maybe they'll laugh. Maybe they'll call you strange, lazy, or even crazy. But in those moments, remember Thoreau. Remember the man who walked into the woods and came back with a truth sharp enough to cut through centuries. That to live deliberately, to live authentically, is to embrace the radical power of loss. So ask yourself, will you keep chasing the hollow victories of the world? Or will you have the courage to be a loser and finally be free?